Hey guys, what's going on? McMull2 here. Welcome back to my channel. So you guys have probably been having some difficulty with your Dark Side territory battles. CG has said that they're looking at, they're probably going to adjust it for next time. But until then, I decided to go ahead and make a target priority list that should carry through even with the adjustment and the difficulty for next time. But with this, I'll go ahead and go through the different enemies that we have. There'll be discussions on the elite and normal versions of these enemies, and then after that I will go ahead and do a list for two different kinds of teams that you're going to be using. One's going to be more heavily reliant on debuffs, and then the other one's going to be more that's just trying to get damage out and just knock out the enemies without having to rely on debuffs for that. So with that, let's go ahead and go into the enemies. We'll go ahead and start with Hoth Rebel Scout, and we will go from there. So first up, we have Hoth Rebel Scout. He is going to pretty much have the exact same kit as our Hoth Rebel Scout. He has a chance to deal the stun on the special attack. He has the Hope of the Alliance where he gains bonus turn meter whenever an Empire enemy is defeated. And then once he gets the elite version, he has the ability to call random allies to assist if he is stealth. Moving on to Hoth Rebel Soldier, also the exact same kit pretty much for what we have with our Hoth Rebel Soldier. He can do the offense down on his basic attack. He has the hold the line where he taunts and gives defense up to rebel allies, and he also gets the health up. And then with that, he has 2 turns for defense up whenever any character is defeated. He also has a 70% counter chance. It's a bit higher than ours. I believe ours is stuck at 50%. And then if you get an elite version of Hoth Rebel Soldier, he has the chance to daze a target for 2 turns, of course barring the potency and tenacity check. Moving on to Hoth Rebel Commander, he has suppression fire on his basic. He gains a turn meter if he hits an Empire target. The Rally Cry, this is where he gets kind of dangerous here. He dispels all negative debuffs from all allies, and each ally recovers 15% of their max health for each debuff dispelled this way. Pretty much he is like Admiral Akbar on steroids here. But it gets worse. His Battle Worn Unique, he recovers 5% protection whenever an ally is damaged, and if you get an elite version of him, he recovers 5% health and turn meter whenever an ally is damaged. So if you get an elite version, he's going to recover 5% health, protection, and gain 5% turn meter anytime an ally is damaged. So he's a pretty bad, nasty target that you have to fight if you have an elite version of him. Then onto Rebel Officer. He's not as bad as Commander, but he is up there. You can see his Cover Blast, his basic attack, gives the random defense up to 1 ally. The Regroup, all allies recover 50% health, 100% health if he is an elite version. So both him and Commander can really heal up the entire ally team really quickly. He gains Foresight whenever an ally attacks. And then another elite ability for him, he recovers 5% turn meter for all allies whenever he attacks. And then moving on to Rebel Pilot, Insurgent Fire, and if suffering any debuffs, calls an ally to assist. Inspiring Courage, we've got another cleanse here, just like your Rebel Commander. This one dispels all negative status effects from allies, and each ally gains 5% turn meter for each effect dispelled this way. So really, if you're running into Commander and a Pilot at the same time with a debuff heavy team, it could be really bad news for your team. Steadfast, whenever an ally is defeated, Rebel Pilot gains 100% turn meter. This gets pretty nasty, and then here's where it also gets even worse. If you have an elite version of the Pilot, whenever an ally is defeated, resets the cooldowns of all allied abilities. So yeah, an elite version of a Rebel Pilot can get pretty bad pretty quickly if you are fighting him and you defeat some enemies. Can really start cleansing and calling an assist, and that's just not going to go well for your team. Then Rebel Soldier, Steady Shot. If the Rebel Soldier is debuffed, inflicts health down, and also has a 25% chance to give a random ally tenacity up. He can taunt and gain max protection for 2 turns, 40%. If Rebel Soldier receives a critical hit, he gains defense up for 2 turns, and then the elite version of him gets hold position. Whenever he taunts, he gains retribution for 2 turns. Then moving on to Rebel Spy, this is our last Rebel target here to go through. You have physical damage to the target enemy with his basic, and if he has stealth, he stuns them for 1 turn. Cover, the least 2 healthy allies gain stealth for 2 turns and recover 40% protection. Stealth Operative, he starts each counter stealth, and he gains stealth upon receiving a critical hit. And then the elite version of him, whenever an ally gains stealth, dispels all negative stats effects on them. So a lot of cleansing going on with these guys, and there's a lot of synergy and protection recovery and turn meter gain, and a lot of healing too. So that is it for the different enemies we are going to be fighting. Let's go ahead and break down what you should be prioritizing for each different team and why. So with your target priority list, we're going to go through the debuff reliant teams first. Number 1 and number 2, you have your Hoth Rebel Pilot and Hoth Rebel Commander. These are both of your big cleansing enemies that you're going to fight. Pilot is easily number 1 because he gains a lot of turn meter whenever an ally is defeated. He also resets all allied cooldowns. That could be really bad news. So always go for pilots first and then Hoth Rebel Commander after him. Commander gives 15% health back for each debuff that's cleansed, but it's not as deadly as the bonus turn meter and the cooldown resets with a Rebel Pilot. So you really want to go for both of these characters first. There's really no need to worry about Elite versus Normal because both of them are incredibly deadly even with a normal version. Number 3, you have Rebel Officer with the healing that he can also do 50% or 100% if he's Elite. That's also another thing you're going to have to worry about. So making sure you can get rid of those 3 characters first are going to be vital because all 3 can really heal up or recover a lot of cooldowns or protection and health for your team. Rebel Spy is number 4. He is another cleansing character that the Rebels have here. If you have any characters that gain stealth, they cleanse all debuffs from them. So again, another person you really need to focus on, but it's not as deadly as Rebel Officer because those healings are a lot worse because that's for everybody on the team, and Rebel Spy can only give stealth to in the cleanse with 1 or 2 characters. Next up, you have Hoth Rebel Scout. You have these stuns with his special ability. He can also do a lot of damage with his turn meter gains whenever an Empire ally is defeated, but that is going to rely mostly on your team getting defeated in order for him to gain that bonus turn meter, so that's really not something you have to worry about too much. And of course, Hoth Rebel Soldier is another character to worry about, but he is more reliant on countering, and so if you can get the debuffs in there and then knock him out before he can counter, that's going to be something you can really do and make sure you don't have to worry about too much. And then finally, you have Rebel Soldier at number 7. He really does not bring a lot to the table. The moves that he brings doesn't really have much consequence. So if you're fighting a lot of Rebel Soldiers, it could be pretty easy for you. He's just not a deadly character compared to all the others, and that's why I have him ranked as number 7 here. Now, for your teams that rely a lot less on your debuffs, the turn order is going to be a little bit different here. Of course, you're still going to have Rebel Pilot as number 1. The cooldown reductions and the turn meter boost and everything else, that is still going to be a problem no matter which way you deal with it. It's not something that you want to really have to fight, and a lot of constant cooldown reductions means that Rebel Pilot is still a very deadly enemy to fight, and that is why you should still focus on him at number 1. Number 2, we have Rebel Officer. Of course, the healing again, the 50% or 100% with an Elite version, that is still going to be a problem. All of that healing could really make it hard for your team to knock out someone, and if you can't kill the enemy because of the constant healings from Rebel Officer, that means that you're just going to have to keep fighting through the waves, and you're going to start taking a lot of damage, and you can't keep up. So make sure you knock out Rebel Officer second behind Rebel Pilot. Next up, you have Hoth Rebel Scouts and Soldier. They're a bit more annoying to deal without those debuffs. The stun from Hoth Rebel Scout can really hurt you because you're not going to be able to move and deal out the damage if your characters are stunned. The offense down from Hoth Rebel Soldier, also another problem here because of the ability that you're not going to be able to get so much damage done. And of course, the Elite version of him can also daze, so not a lot of assist or bonus turn meter gain for your team. Then Hoth Rebel Commander at number 5. This drops down a bit when you're not fighting him with a debuff reliant team because his main power is the steroid cleansing that he does like Admiral Akbar. Without the debuffs, he's not going to be able to really do too much for that team, so you don't really have to worry about him too much. And then Rebel Spy, again, the main power here is the cleansing, but without that cleansing, you don't have to worry too much. And then of course Rebel Soldier is in at number 7 because again his kit is just not that threatening and he's really a target you can leave to the side and not have to deal with. So yeah, between the two teams you always have Rebel Pilot at number 1 because of the cooldown reductions and the bonus turn meter gains. That's just a character that you really need to focus on getting rid of first. And if you can get rid of Rebel Pilot, it's going to make your fights a whole lot easier because you're not going to have those cooldown resets. And then of course with your damage teams, like I said before, the stun and offense down really means that you need to focus on those Hoth Rebel characters a lot more quickly, except for Commander because again his cleanse is really something you don't have to worry about if you're not using a lot of debuffs. So that is pretty much it for this video, guys. If you all have any questions, feel free to ask down below in the comments section. As always, I hope you all have enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to see else with Darkside Territory battles. There's plenty of videos we can do here, but I'm not going to be doing a rant video about the difficulty. I'll leave that to other people. It's just, I'm not really in the mood for doing any kind of rant here. There's already been enough feedback from the community about it, and it's already being a dead horse, so there's not going to be a discussion on the difficulty of it so much. But I am thinking of, once they adjust the difficulty, I'll do some guides for these different phases. But for now, with the spike in difficulty and the bugs and issues we're having right now, it's just not a good idea to do any sorts of guides. So I'll look at doing that for the next time the Darkside Territory battles come around. But again, guys, if you have any video suggestions or questions or anything like that, again, ask down below in the comment section. But as always, guys, thanks again for watching my videos, and I will talk to you guys later.